This video was suggested by Skyrim Crafter of the LPM Discord. Hello and welcome, I'm the Legendary PokéMaster, and today we are talking about some interesting Pokemon. These are 10 Pokemon that have odd typings in one way or another, whether it be that they deserve a different typing or the typing just doesn't work out for them. So without further ado, let's start. Number 10, Lugia. Lugia is the first instance of a few Pokemon on this list that have the same problem. The why isn't this actually this type problem. I think we could all agree that Lugia is heavily water-based. In the games, you get Lugia from the Whirl Islands, which is, you guessed it, in the middle of all of this, and you even see it emerging from the water in a very drawn-out sequence. Plus, in Pokemon the Movie 2000, we constantly see it coming from, and going into, and coming back out of, and going back into the water. So what type do you think it is? Psychic is understandable through the way Lugia communicates, but flying? This thing is closer to a flying type, and it isn't even one. I guess they took out the water so it didn't have an imbalance with Ho-Oh, but imbalances seem to happen all the time in other places. Why not here? Number 9, the Flabebe line. This line includes Flabebe, Floette, and Florges, which evolve in that order. All of these suffer from the same problem that Lugia had. They're exclusively fairy type. Now the question: why not grass as well? They're grass-themed enough, the whole theme being that they're flowers, some even differently colored than others. Florges is even seen controlling nature in the anime, something that's usually a signature characteristic of a grass type. I honestly don't know why they didn't include it. Maybe it's because they really wanted to show off the then new fairy type, but that seems like a poor reason. Number 8, Charizard. You know I needed to get this one. I needed to get rid of the age-old question right off the bat. This thing is a dragon. More a dragon than this, and this. Yet it is not a dragon type. Instead, we get flying, which is, I guess, reasonable, unlike some selections to come. But still, they missed out on a big opportunity. It was probably, once again, a balancing issue to keep it from becoming too OP in comparison with the other starters. Or maybe it was just because of the lack of dragon-type moves in Generation 1 when it came out. Because there was really only Dragon Rage, and that doesn't even need to be a dragon-type move. But that still doesn't stop it from being one of the most ironic typings, to say the least. Number 7, Klefki. This is Keys, so naturally it's a steel type, seeing that keys are made of steel. But then we have its secondary typing, Fairy. This is almost definitely another instance of Pokemon saying, "Hey, we have a new typing, what should we do with it?" Well, give it to some Pokemon. Oh, we need more. What other new Pokemon do we have? Oh. They probably gave it a fairy typing because they once again wanted to show off a new type, with little to no reasoning as to why they would make it a fairy type. Sure, there's the mindset that fairies are sometimes blamed for stealing small objects, like Klefki apparently steals keys. But some other Pokemon with types that actually make sense do the same thing in a similar fashion and are not fairy types. If anything, it should be ghost type, since it's kind of like an AG/deal with how it works. Number 6, Minior. This is a new Pokemon introduced with Alola, and like most of the dual types on this list, it has at least one type that makes sense. Rock. But it's also a flying type for some reason. This kind of seems odd since very similar Pokemon like Solrock, Lunatone, or maybe even Golurk, which was actually shown to fly in the anime, are not flying types as well. Yet this is, and it basically behaves identically. In this case, I don't think replacing flying with anything would be suitable. Just having it as a pure rock type would really work out for it. Number 5, Lucario. Lucario is a fighting and steel type. The one that makes sense here is fighting, obviously.
Now that's a lot of damage!
But Lucario barely has any correlation to steel. It has the spikes, sure, but that's essentially just a minor detail, not actually factoring into the actual, persona or abilities of Lucario for the most part. On top of that, it only learns a single steel type move by leveling up, which isn't even that great. This makes it a wasted stab opportunity as well. Psychic would have made much more sense, going with the idea of an aura Pokemon that can use telepathy to talk. Plus, Lucario has way more and better psychic moves than steel moves. Number 4, Golem Alola form. This is one of the inexplicable ones, since Golem is essentially the farthest you could get from an electrically reminiscent creature. Golem initially started back as a rock and ground dual type, which is completely understandable as it's basically a boulder lizard. So what do we have to make this new form different? It's a boulder lizard with a mustache. And that makes it an electric type for some reason. It does have very minor detailing that could be linked to an electric type, like these things, which could be electrical conductors or something, but honestly they just kinda end up looking like gems in a rock. This version of Golem does try to explain its typing by saying that the mustache is made of magnetically charged sand-like particles. But then wouldn't it make more sense for it to be a steel type? I guess there is some explanation behind it, but it seems very vague and I still think it's kinda odd. Number 3, Vespiquen. Bug and flying. I think that's reason enough. Why do I despise bug and flying? Because it ruins a potentially awesome Pokemon. We get the point. Vespiquen can fly, just like this guy, and this guy, and this dude and that dude, all of whom are not flying types. So why do we feel the need to denote Vespiquen, one of the hardest non-mythical bug types to obtain, as a flying type, thus adding one weakness, virtually no additional stab, and really no other benefits? This one is an odd typing for all those reasons. It has the flying type despite all similar Pokemon not having that, and flying does absolutely nothing for it, making it kind of useless to add. It being a soul bug type would have been ideal, but we just need to kind of keep dreaming, I guess. Number 2, all dual-type normal Pokemon. Obviously, this encompasses a wide variety of Pokemon, but that's because of how perplexing the concept of adding normal type to a Pokemon that has another type is to me. Why give this normal? It's just gonna make it weaker to fighting. Sure, it will gain immunity to Ghost, but was that gonna do much damage in the first place? No. This basically applies to every Pokemon that has normal as a secondary typing, which is why I included everyone. Just like Vespiquen though, there's really absolutely no benefits to having normal type as a secondary type. Most normal type moves are pretty bad, negating the need for a stab on them. Most of these don't even learn too many viable normal type moves in the first place. That's why this is essentially the oddest typing for me, with the exception of that. I don't know what to say. This is a dragon type. Why is it a dragon type? I don't know why it's a dragon type. Do you know why it's a dragon type?
I don't know what.
I personally have become convinced over time that this Pokemon is just a big troll by Game Freak to the community in every conceivable venue of its existence. So I'll just take the benefit of the doubt and say this is a troll too. It is the most absurd, bizarre typing Pokemon has offered us up. But naturally, most of these are based on my opinion, and opinions differ. So what do you think? What are some of the oddest typed Pokemon that I didn't cover on this list? Please leave a comment down below. You can also subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Regardless, Keldeo is the best mythical Pokemon, and I will see you in the next video.